Wow, thank you so much. Look at everybody. Thank you for being here. Concord, New Hampshire, huh? Wow. I don't know if you're aware, but Concord, New Hampshire is actually a dream vacation destination. Did you know that? Yeah. A couple months ago, a woman on The Price is Right won a vacation to Concord, New Hampshire. Yeah. She was hoping for a Caribbean vacation, and she got Concord. But here's the kicker. She's from Massachusetts. Less than 2 hours from here. And it gets worse. They're like, we'll fly you and a guest from Los Angeles to beautiful Manchester-Boston Regional Airport. She's got to go all the way out and come all the way back. She didn't win a vacation. She won the longest tax-free liquor run in history. Man. You know what? New Hampshire is better than the Caribbean. You know why? Because you can still get a plastic straw. Live free or die. They're not banning those. Look, I'm all for the environment, but look, let's be honest. I mean, the options are not good. You've got the paper straw. Those are great as long as you're not drinking anything that's wet. If you can finish a drink in under 60 seconds, that's a good choice. But I mean, come on. You guys try to drink a frozen margarita drinking out of an empty paper towel roll? I mean, they're like, well, it's biodegradable. Yeah, no crap. It's biodegrading in my mouth and in my cup. I mean, look, I just want to wait a few more years before I get off the plastic straw. I mean, there's too much going on. We just come out of a pandemic, right? And then now we're looking at World War III. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Hang on to those masks. Right, and in Ukraine, every man from 18 to 60 has to stay and fight. Does anyone know if that's the age in this country? 60? That's kind of pushing it. If I'm 60, like, you gotta fight, I'm like, I go to bed at 9:30. I mean, I got a CPAP machine. I'm gonna need an outlet. Is that a problem? I just got a Tempur-Pedic bed. It's coming Friday between 12 and 5. I got to sign for it. I got to fight the Russians? And I'm a little concerned because in this country, we can't get 18 to 60-year-olds to go to work, let alone go to war. Right? We should have a draft where we draft people into jobs. Go to some 22-year-old, you're drafted. I don't want to die. Well, I'd be very careful working the drive-thru. I mean, it's bad. I mean, I went to take my 11-year-old to a haunted house in October, and he's like, Daddy, is it going to be scary? I'm like, well, on the bright side, with the labor shortage, there won't be as many people jumping out at you this year. Haunted house, more like a help wanted house. There were help wanted signs up everywhere. There was a big sign that said, scare yourself, it's been a shitty year. With an arrow pointed to a mirror. But look, everybody, here's my point. My dad has always told me to try to look on the bright side, and I'm trying to, and it could always be worse. You know what I mean? It's like with the stock market and people's 401ks, it could always be worse. I had a buddy, his 401k, he had all his money with Fidelity, lost 25% of his investments. I had another buddy, he went with Infidelity, he lost 50% of his investments. I don't know. The vaccine was supposed to be the game changer. Get everything back to normal. Let me just say this, by the way. If you are vaccinated, okay, it's not foolproof. You still got to be careful, okay? My friend last summer, a month after getting the second shot, still ended up in the hospital because of the coronavirus. He didn't get the virus. He was wearing a mask. His glasses fogged up. He walked in front of a vehicle. It wasn't the Delta variant, it was the Honda Element. But look, I'll tell you what I'm gonna I'll tell you what I'm gonna miss, everybody, when this whole COVID thing is over. You know what I'm gonna miss? Being able to use it as an excuse. If you want to get out of doing something, right? It's foolproof. Right? My buddy called me, he's like, hey, Justin, can you help me move tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, but just so you know, I was with my cousin yesterday. He tested positive for COVID today. Yeah, are you sure? I mean, I lost a little bit of my sense of smell, but I think I can, are you sure? Okay. Is your couch at least 6 feet long? Okay, let me know if you change your mind. Hashtag, we're all in this together. We are. But I'm telling you, if somebody invites you to their gender reveal party, oh, I never want to go to a gender reveal party. I would go to a gender reveal surprise party. Hey, Mike, remember that girl you were with 9 months ago? You got a boy. Time for a diaper change. But it shouldn't matter, everybody. It shouldn't matter if you have a boy or girl. Like, what's the big deal? Right, what do they say? Are you hoping it's a boy or girl? You know what? It doesn't matter as long as they're healthy. Enough to shovel. And mow the lawn, and do the yard work. That's why I have these kids for the labor, right? We need help, especially when we get older. And I'll tell you what's not gonna happen, okay? I have millennials that live on each side of me. Both of my neighbors on each side are millennials. I look out the window, they've got their parents doing their yard work. How the hell did that happen? How did you pull off that bait and switch, millennials? Some guys out there 75 years old raking leaves. I just got one more bag and I'll be inside. You keep playing Call of Duty, I'll finish up out here. Grandpa's okay, don't mind Grandpa. No. You gotta stick around and help me when you... Living in New Hampshire is dangerous with all the yard work. The snow removal, right? That's dangerous. My snowblower got recalled because of a risk of amputation. Just when you think winter in New England couldn't suck anymore. Amputation while snow blowing? Can you imagine? I go from I can't feel my feet to I can't find my feet. My neighbor's over shoveling 1.5 feet. It's mine. Throw him back over. But I love living in New Hampshire. My wife and I, we go camping every year. We don't mean to, but we live in New Hampshire and the power goes out every year. 3 or 4 times. So had to get the generator. Now the generator, that's dangerous. Just starting the generator. Did you hear about this Generac generator? I don't know if I can say the name. Am I gonna get sued if I say the name? It was in the news. This generator got recalled after 7 incidents of finger amputation. 7! I love how they waited for 7. 6, they were good. Right? Somebody probably came into the CEO, was like, sir, we just got our 6th report of finger amputation with our new generator. It's like, look, they're idiots. They didn't read the manual. They're not going to be pointing their fingers at us. But could you imagine? How do you like living in New Hampshire? It's not bad. We only lost power 4 times last year. We lost power 4 times. 4 times. Wow, that must be tough to tie your shoes. Actually, my shoe, I was snow blowing. I worry about my kids, though. I worry that my kids are spoiled. Does anybody think your kids are more spoiled than when you were growing up? I mean, this is when I realized my kids have no clue. We rented a place a few years ago up on Lake Winnipesaukee, okay? It was cheap, 4 days, $17,000. Monday through Thursday. But there was no air conditioning, okay? My kids were like 8 and 11 at the time, okay? For the first time in their life, they were about to go to sleep with no air conditioning. If you would have saw their faces when they tried to go to sleep, they're like, oh. Like, Dad, get in here. I'm like, what? She's like, there's something wrong with this place. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm having trouble breathing. And look, I'm sweating. What is this? This is called heat. It's how a lot of people have to sleep every night. He's like, well, we got to go home. I'm like, we're not going home. When I was a kid, not only did I not have air conditioning. Anyone not have air conditioning when you were a kid? No AC? Yeah. I didn't even have a fan. Do you want to know how I kept cool when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? This is how I would keep cool. I would lay on top of all the covers, okay, just in my underwear, okay, spread out like this, right? Waiting for the breeze that would never come, right? One night a moth flew by my face. I go, oh, come back, moth, please. Please, come back. If there's a God, that moth will come back. So I got a flashlight. I put it under my chin like this, and the moth came out. Like, oh, this is the best. Oh, this is the best night ever. I'll never forget this night, moth. But then the batteries died, okay? So that was only one night I got to do that. So this is how every other night, and you can do this if you find yourself in a situation where you've got no AC, and on those August hot days where it's humid, okay? I would lay on top of all the covers just in my underwear, okay? And I would tickle my chest, okay? Yes, give myself, I'd go down the side like this, back up around. There's nothing erotic, okay? It's your body's own personal, look, I don't know if you can even see that. Can you see that? I mean, that was from like 10 seconds. It cools you down, okay? It works. Yeah, you watch. You'll be trying it. And you'll be like, wow. When you do this, you'll be thinking about Juston McKinney, okay? All right? Don't ever forget me. But I told my kids, I said, you have central air. I had central areolas, all right? Living in New Hampshire is great. It's a great state. But I am a little embarrassed because a few years ago, I don't know if you're aware of this, but New Hampshire made the legal age of marriage 16. Yeah, they raised it to 16. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Right, you know what it was? Yeah, it was 13 for girls and 14 for boys. How did that ever become a law? The only thing I could think was back in the day, that was the way parents made sure their kids moved the hell out of the house. That's like, Billy, you're married, I want you out of here. You gotta drop me off, Dad. I can't drive for 2 more years. Could you imagine 13 and 14? Are you guys high school sweethearts? Not yet. High school sweethearts, that's an amazing thing. Do we have any high school sweethearts out here tonight? Wow, look at this. Good for you. How awesome is that, everybody? You know what I mean? It's great. I mean, two people who meet each other, and both of them know right away that they can't do any better. I mean, there's nothing that says love like fear. But look, here's my point, everybody. It's too young to get married at 13 and 14 and 16, even 18. I even think even 21 is too young. You don't know what you want when you're that age. Now, I don't know if anybody saw this story on Good Morning America. There was a 100-year-old man marrying a 103-year-old woman. Now, at 100 and 103, you know what you want. You want someone, if you don't wake up in the morning, they pick up the phone and make a call. Am I right? You don't want a soulmate, you want a spotter. But would you even, if you were 100 and 103, would you even bother getting married? Wouldn't you just date? You know what, why don't we just date? You know, I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. There's no ramp on this place. I mean, are you worried people are going to judge you? Were they living together before they got married? Yeah, they were assisted living together. So they interviewed this guy and they asked him what their favorite thing to do together was, right? And he got all blushed. You know, he got all embarrassed. He's like, I don't know if I can talk about that. Wait a second. Is he implying that they're fooling around in their hundreds? My wife and I just turned 50. We're almost done. I think every time could be the last. I don't know how many more she's got in her. I gotta be honest. They say you always remember your first. You probably always remember your last, too. 9 years ago tomorrow. It was raining that day. I went to the bank. Seriously, my wife, I mean, I don't know. I mean, just recently, I'm laying in bed with her, and I just put my hand on her hand, and I just kind of like looked at her. She goes, I think I have a concussion. You had to go right to concussion? Right? You couldn't say a headache? Like you had to be like an NFL linebacker at CTE? What kind of scumbag would I be trying to put the moves on my wife if she's in concussion protocol? I mean, that just shuts the door completely. I mean, that's better than the COVID excuse. Right, guys? If your woman's like, I think I have COVID. You know what? I probably already got it. Let's light the candles. Been with my wife now for 27 years. I've been with my wife. 27 years, yeah. And you know what we like to do? You know what we like to do on our date night? We like to watch TV. We like to stay in and watch TV. And you know what we watch? We watch Dateline. 2020. 48 hours unsolved mysteries. I realize on our date night, we like to watch shows about spouses killing each other. We can't get enough of it. I like to take notes throughout the whole thing. It's like, what are you writing? You don't increase the life insurance right before. That's the first thing they look at. Try decreasing it. Throw off the cops. And that was before COVID. right? People now are like, did you guys get closer during COVID? Yeah, closer to killing each other. Okay? It is not normal at year 25 to be stuck in a mandatory lockdown 365, 24/7. Right? It's like dog years. One COVID year is like 7 regular years, am I right? And she's still working from home. It's like she never worked from home. Now she's working from home. Both of them, you're home and you're not used to that. I mean, even Tom Brady only made it 40 days. Right? Yeah. And he's living with a supermodel from Brazil. I'm living with a super ball buster from Tewksbury, Massachusetts. What chance do I have? Oh my gosh, she's always on me about something. Out of the blue, she hits me with this. She's like, oh, that noise. I'm like, what? She's like, you're chewing. When did this start? Yeah, anyone else in a relationship where you can't chew near your significant other? Yeah, it's a very enjoyable existence, isn't it? Where you can't eat. One of the things you need to survive, you can't do in front of the one you love. Oh, we're best friends. Really? I can't even eat in the same room as you. But she told me it's an OCD condition. It's a real thing. She showed me OCD online. It's called misophonia. Yeah. First of all, it's got the word phony right in it, all right? That's first of all. But she showed me, and I read it, and it's, it's triggered by the sounds of chewing. Kind of, and I go, well, what about when the kids chew? She's like, oh, that doesn't bother me. So you have selective misophonia? I think you have me so tired of you. It's not misophonia, it's me. One night she's like, oh, that noise. I'm like, what now? She's like, you're breathing. I used to have a woman that wanted me. I have a woman that wants me to not be breathing. When we fool around, I gotta hold my breath the whole time, just so I don't ruin it for her. Luckily, I can hold it long enough. And I have asthma. I know, it's impressive. So we're home all the time, right? She's home, I'm home, and this happens all the time. I'll go in the other room to go see her. She'll, you scared me! I'm like, how did I scare you? You know I'm home. You think someone climbed through the window, choked me out with a rope, they're coming in to get you? Now I gotta send her a warning text. I'm on my way, like, heads up. She's like, how far out are you? 20 seconds, I'm in the other room. I don't want you to freak out on me. I don't want to scare you. And here's the thing. She's staying remote. She's staying remote. She said, my company decided we're going to stay remote. I'm like, for how long? She's like, forever? Forever? She's like, yeah, they can save money on office space. Can I help chip in for office space? I'll start a GoFundMe page. I'll do a bake sale, whatever I got to do. I mean, look, how do I say this without it coming out wrong? If I knew COVID was going to happen, I don't think I would have married my wife. I mean, I think I would have married like a hairdresser. Somebody who could have been a benefit in a lockdown, right? Or an HVAC person. How cool would that be? HVAC, heating and cooling? Man, how cool would that be? Not only is she not like an HVAC person or something cool like that, you want to know what she does for work? HR. Human resources. The absolute worst job for a comedian to be married to. Every joke I bounce off her, she's like, I don't know about that. You can't say that anymore. I wouldn't go there. That's a hot button issue. That's going to offend somebody. I'm like, she can't even fix a furnace. So she's working from home. I tried to flirt with her one day, right? I'm flirting with her. She's like, that's harassment in the workplace. I'm like, look, this is what happened, sir. I was folding the laundry, okay? I saw a pair of her black underwear in the pile, right? And I'm like, oh, did you get a new pair of sexy underwear for our weekend away this weekend? Are you gonna wear these? And I kind of like slingshot them at her, you know what I mean? I hit her in the face. I didn't mean to hit her in the face, but you know. She's like, that's a mask. I don't know if you're aware, but that mask is hotter than your underwear. And that pile, that mask looks like a G-string. I mean, your underwear looks like a dish towel. I'm just saying, it's a lot of linen. But it's fine, I get it. I wanted to be comfy. You know, we're all getting older, you want to be comfy. You know, like when we go down to the beach, you know, my wife walks around in her two-piece, a one-piece with a shirt over it down to her knees. She goes in the water, I'm like, it looks like you fell out of a boat. It's like, forget free the nipple, free the knee. How about that? It's hard to make my wife laugh. You know, I try to make her laugh. We went to the beach one day, so I thought it'd be funny if I wore a Speedo. Yeah, that backfired. Let's just say there's a reason that's a French-Canadian thing and not an Irish-Canadian thing, all right? Went to get a coffee. The guy behind the counter asked me what my preferred pronoun was. I said, he. He goes, you sure about that? And by the way, let me just say, okay? I have two boys, and people ask me, people have asked me, they're like, you have two boys. If one of them wanted to change their pronoun and be they instead of he, how would you feel about that? I'm like, I am completely fine with that, as long as they shovel. They mow the lawn. They do the stuff around the house. More power to them! And that's a pronoun joke, okay? I can't get canceled for that. I got the clearance from HR on that one. Yeah. Because it never ends. She's always telling me about the latest stuff. It's getting ridiculous. I mean, she comes in one day and she tells me about this university that wants to stop using the terms mother and father and wants to start calling dads non-birthing parents. What? How is that neutral, first of all? That's name calling. Why don't you just go with no good, do nothing, piece of shit dads, right? Just right? Dads kick us right in the nuts. Why hold back? I mean, come on, ladies. We had something to do with the birth. You're non-penetrating parents. How do you like that, huh? I'm just saying. You want a name call? You're NPPs, non-penetrating parents. You did nothing. You just laid there, all right? We know what you did. Okay? No. It doesn't feel good to call names. We don't need to resort to that. We don't need to resort to that. Look, but I don't know why you're going after the dads. I wouldn't go after the mothers. I mean, look, my kid makes computers. He builds computers. He needs a new motherboard. It's the most important part of the whole computer. It runs the whole thing. It's the brains. I'm not like, that should be the fatherboard. No. That's your thing, ladies. Take it, own it. It's you. Good. The mothership. Is that not the best ship? Everyone wants to get back to the mothership. It's the best ship. It's the mothership. I'm like, that should be the fathership. No, that's yours. Herpes. I'm like, that should be his piece. No. Own it. Love it. Spread it. You be you. But it's not easy, everybody out there. I'm telling you, I'm trying to be positive, look on the bright side more. That's what I'm trying to do. I mean, getting old's tough. I mean, my wife starting to go through these hot flashes. Yeah, she has these flashes where she looks hot. Getting old's tough. I see you out here. We got some people out there that have lived a few years on the planet. Yeah. Anybody at that age where when stuff breaks, like appliances and stuff at the house, when it breaks, you do that calculation as to how many more you have to buy before you die? You ever do that? That's the bright side of being in your 50s. If you got to get a new roof, it's probably the last one you ever have to get. I figure I got 3 fridges, 2 water heaters, and 1 roof, and I'm done. I miss my 20s, though, man. We have any 20-somethings out there? Where are my 20-somethings at? Yeah, how annoying are they, right? You all thought the same thing, right? You're immediately envious of them. You know what it is, though? We all know what it's like to be them. They have no idea what it's like to be us. Enjoy it. Hope you're having fun. I could remember being in my 20s, going out with friends on the weekend, and we'd go out drinking, and this conversation would always come up. It would always be like, is it beer before liquor? Never been sicker. Liquor before beer, you're in the clear. What is it again? This was me with that same friend not long ago. Is it, if you've had chicken pox, you can get shingles? Or you can't get shingles? What is it again? Are we gonna get shingles? Sounds horrible. Right, of all the things to name something from a house, you used shingles? It's gotta be the worst. But then I got thinking of it. None of it sounds good, right? If you're diagnosed with, right? Shudders. That doesn't sound better. Hear about Steve? He's got shudders. Really? Yeah. He's gonna be out for 2 weeks with shudders. Poor guy. But none of it sounds good. Porch. That doesn't sound good. Hear about Jason? He's got porch. Really? Front porch or back porch? He's got both front porch and back porch. He's got wraparound porch. You don't want to go near him. How long is it supposed to last? 3, could be 4 seasons. None of it sounds good. Garage, right? If you were someone diagnosed, hey, hear about Jeff? He's got garage. Is it bad? Is it still attached? No, detached. He's got detached garage. Broke off of his mudroom. Can't even sit down. So I guess we'll stick with shingles. But you 20-somethings, you don't even know. You see a sign at Walgreens, we now have shingle shots. You think it's a drink. You're like, we should do some shingle shots tonight. I see them everywhere. We'll put them in a Red Bull. We'll do an all-nighter. We'll stay out till last call. That's what they do. They stay out till last call. You remember last call? It's like 2 in the morning. If I'm awake at 2 in the morning, that's hopefully the last time I had to get up and take a piss for the night. Last call for alcohol, not in my house. Last piss, hope I don't miss. And I'm not turning the lights on. I'll never get back to sleep. I had these 20-somethings after a show once. They come up to me like, hey, you want to funnel a beer with us? Like, funnel a beer with you? No. I think I would die. I think I'd drown. I can't all of a sudden funnel a beer after 30 years. Got acid reflux, that's coming up, it's going down. I mean, what are you kidding me? I'm like, you know how long it's been since I thought of even trying to funnel a beer? It's like, we were funneling beer last weekend. You know what I did last weekend? A neti pot. Okay? Oh, try that. You ever try that, 20-somethings? The nasal irrigation rinse. That's a party on a Saturday night. Oh, yeah. Gotta go get the little teapot with a little saline packet. Gotta get the distilled water, because it can't be tap water. You get that brain-eating amoeba, that'll take you out. You lean over the sink, right? You mix it up, you put one thing in one nostril, you put up, it goes up into your brain and comes down the other side. It's like waterboarding for old people. Is it not the weird? It's called, I didn't know it was all connected. You gotta try it, 20-somethings. Put beer in it if you want. Yeah. Make it the natty pot. Do the natty pot challenge. That's all you have to do with these young people now. Just put the word challenge behind it. The kids are great, but kids reach that age. I'll never forget, there'll be that one moment where they go from that cute, toddler, innocent, sweet child. Something just happens. I'll never forget it with my seven-year-old. My boy was 7. I was tucking him into bed, okay? I would always do this little rhyme game with him, like, buddy, I love you more than planes, trains, and cranes. And he'd look at me and go like, I love you more than boats, goats, and floats. You know, I looked at him, so one night, I'm talking to bed, he's 7 years old, I'm like, buddy, I love you more than stars, Mars, and cars. He looks up at me and goes, I love you more than my balls. Where did that come from? I'm like, that's not a nice way to talk to your dad. At least I have balls, unlike you, right, Dad? I'm like, where did he get that from? I think he's listening to his mother talking on the phone with her girlfriends. Things will happen. My kids will do things, and I just imagine what it would have been like in my childhood. It's a whole different time. When my boy was in 4th grade, I get a call from the nurse's office. It's like, we've got Jack down here. He's at the nurse's office. I'm like, is he okay? Yeah. He wants to know if, he spilled some milk on his pants. First of all, I'm like, so he's at the nurse's office? Is he feeling sour? I mean, what? Why is he at the nurse? He wants to know if you'll bring him down another pair of pants. If I called my dad and asked him to bring me down another pair of pants because I spilt milk on him, he would show up without his pants. I guarantee it. He would have been like, I couldn't find your pants, big guy. Mine either. Don't bother me again. I could remember being in the elementary school nurse's office when she called my dad. It was on speakerphone. My dad treated that school nurse like she was a telemarketer. She's like, yeah, we got Justin down here. He's got a little bit of a temp. He's really not feeling well. Look, I don't know how you got this number, but I'm not interested. Don't call her anymore and take me off that list. Click. She's like, do you think I called the wrong number? No, that was my dad. He does not like lists. And I had a little bit of a dysfunctional childhood. I don't know how many people. Anybody have a little bit of a dysfunctional childhood growing up? A little bit? All right. So basically, I was born in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And thank you, Portsmouth. All right. And when I was 6 years old, my mom passed away. So my mom's sister moved in to help, take care of us kids and apparently take care of my dad, if you know what I mean. Yeah, they ended up in the same bed. Exactly. Yes. Very normal, right? She brought two of her kids. So in this one house in Portsmouth, there was a dad, an aunt, 2 cousins, and 4 brothers. That's when they said, we really should be in Maine. Okay? Yeah. So when I got out of the 5th grade, we packed up the U-Haul and we headed north to a town called Kittery, Maine, 2 miles away. It was right over the bridge. It was 2 miles from my old house to my new house. It was the first house on the left as you crossed over Interstate 95 into Maine. It was the first house on the left. Now, I know Maine, people make fun of it and all that, but when the first house in Maine has a dad, an aunt, 2 cousins, and 4 brothers, that's not a great look. That's not northern Maine. That's the southern tip. That's the first house. And I said to my dad, I'm like, Dad, you and Aunt Glennis are like in the same bed. He's like, look, on the bright side, if I'm gonna end up with one of your aunts, better your mom's sister than my sister. It was the last time we talked about it. And my grandfather lived with us. So there were 9 of us. 9 of us in a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Yeah, because my grandfather, he got divorced from my grandmother. My grandmother was married 5 times. My grandfather was her 1st and 4th. Yeah. Yeah, imagine that. So they get divorced. She took half his stuff. Came back and took half of his other half. She got 3/4. That first divorce, he's thinking, I can't believe you're taking half my stuff. She's like, oh, you wait, I'll be back. I'm not done with you. So my grandfather, died broke. My dad's got nothing, but listen to me. This is what I'm trying to say. There's the bright side of not being super rich, okay? Be happy that you're not super rich. You don't have a place like on the ocean, a place in Florida, a place up on Winnipesaukee. Because when you get up in your 80s and 90s, I'm not saying your family wants you to die, but they're thinking about how they're splitting up all that shit when you do, am I right? My dad's got nothing. When my dad goes, we got to pay for the funeral, the burial. We want my dad to live forever. We're like, Dad, are you taking care of yourself? We can't afford to lose you right now. We just put a new deck on the house. If you go now, we got to put you under the deck till spring. No pressure, but take your vitamins. We need you here. And my dad's an amazing story. My dad for many years, was a homeless alcoholic, but he'll be sober 15 years on April 1st. 15 years sober, yeah. So proud of my dad. So proud of him. But he actually spent time living in the toilet. He didn't live in the toilet. That would have been really bad. He lived in the restroom at the parking garage in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and he was always positive then. He's like, on the bright side, I got a place with a 400-car garage. But here's my point. You all want your kids to have the life you never had, but I'd like them to have the life I had just for like a week. Just so that, you know what I mean? Just so they appreciate it, They have no clue. They talk a good talk. They come in one day, they're like, Dad, we want bunk beds. I'm like, you have your own rooms. Like, yeah, but we want it for like when we have sleepovers. You want a guest bed in your room? It's not happening. She was like, so we can't get bunk beds? If anyone's getting bunk beds, it's your mother and I. Yeah. I'm trying to talk her into it. Yeah. Because apparently I snore. Do we have any snorers out there? Yeah, over here, you snore? Yeah. Yeah. So this is me, okay, every night, okay? Right when I fall asleep, okay, I put my head down on the pillow, right? And by the way, you 20-somethings don't understand this yet, but you will reach an age where going to bed at night is the best part of your life. Right? Yeah. It's one of the few things you have to look forward to. Right? Your head hits that pillow, you're like, oh. Put that shit show behind me. We'll start fresh in the morning. Right? Is there anything better? Some of you look like you're already thinking about it now. Like, how long is this guy doing? Look. So right when I fall asleep, I get into that REM sleep, right? That beautiful, it's nothing better. Right when I fall asleep, all of a sudden I feel my wife's arm. She's like, you're snoring! I'm like, She's like, try sleeping on your side. I'm like, okay, just don't hit me again. I'll sleep on my side. Okay. Right when I fall asleep again, you're snoring again. She's like, try your stomach. Okay. I'll try my stomach. You're snoring again. Try it. Now you're breathing on me. If you set up a time-lapse camera, this is what it would look like. 1.2 miles on my Fitbit. I come down the next morning, she's like, you look tired. Really? I look tired. I slept about an hour and I closed an exercise ring. My watch is like, you kicked ass last night, keep it up. Make it 2 nights in a row. Listen to me. I'm snoring because I have nasal polyps, because I'm allergic to the dogs. She has the dogs sleeping on the bed. Let me have the top bunk. The dogs can't get me. You can't hit me. I'll be in heaven. And there'll be no mixed signals if you want to fool around. You got to climb up. You know where to find me. Could you imagine? I hear her coming up that ladder. Oh, yeah, it's about time. And she's climbing the stairway to heaven. As far as I can go with my asthma. As long as I can carry that too. My wife and I, we've been people ask me what our secret is, because we've been together for 27 years. Like, what you see, here's the secret, everybody. It's communication, okay? You gotta communicate. If you don't communicate, find ways to communicate. My wife, sometimes, you know what she would do? She would communicate through my kid's spelling test. Yeah. I remember my boy was in 2nd grade. She's giving him a test. She's like, all right, are you ready? Okay, the first word is car. Daddy got a new car. Mommy did not. Car. She goes, the next word is away. Daddy went away last weekend and left Mommy to take care of the kids by herself. Away. I'm like, you want to talk about something? She's like, the next word is tree. I'm like, oh, let me do this one. I'll do this one. All right, you ready, buddy? All right, let me do this one. You ready? All right, here we go. Tree. Mommy needs to stop bitching about everything. Tree. It was a good talk. It was a good talk. I said to him, I said to my wife one day, I said, I had a dream that you left me. She's like, I'm not gonna leave you. I'm like, I know. I said it was a dream. She's like, did it wake you up in the middle of the night? Oh no, I wasn't sleeping. It was during the day. I was driving around in my new car. These cars are like computers. And computers now, we gotta worry about computers. You gotta worry about people hacking into your accounts and stealing your accounts. Yeah, I had a buddy, someone hacked into his accounts. Let me just say this right now, okay? If somebody hacks into my accounts, I will hunt them down and ask them what my passwords are. Is it not ridiculous? Everything's username and password. I go to log into my patient portal with the doctor's office, right? You're gonna need a username and password. First of all, before I even put in the username and password, this thing pops up. Bing! It says, if you're having a medical emergency, dial 911 immediately. Are there people in America that don't know about the whole dial 911 if you're having an emergency? I don't know, if you're outside, I don't know, using your generator and you lose 2 fingers, you come in the house, like, where's my laptop? Let's get on my patient portal. Username, password. Not a recognizable password. Oh, all caps. I think it's all caps. Try all caps. Still not a recognizable password. All right, let's reset password. Here we go, reset. All right, click on the link we emailed to your email on file, okay? Let's get to that. Okay. Prove you're not a robot. Oh. I'm about to bleed out in 5 minutes. I don't think a robot would do that. Click on all images with an ambulance in them. There's 1 ambulance. There's 2 ambulance. Oh man, is that a truck or an ambulance? Damn, those robots must be so smart. Oh, damn it, who's texting me right now? Someone's texting me, hold on. Someone is trying to log into your account. If this is not you, let us know immediately. If you're having a medical emergency, dial 911. Duh, why didn't I think of that? 911, what's your emergency? Yeah, I'm having trouble logging into my patient portal. Thank you. Oh, all right. I've got to do this patient portal all the time because I got issues with my sinuses. I've had nasal surgery. I have a deviated septum. I had deviated septum surgery. And that, by the way, is the worst. It's like, I asked the ENT, I'm like, how did I deviate my septum? She's like, well, do you do mixed martial arts? I mean, are you a fighter? Have you ever broken your nose in a fight? And I'm like, no. Do I look like a fighter? I mean, come on. I tore my meniscus mulching. She's like, well, then it must have happened at birth. So basically, I got into a fight with a vagina and lost day 1. That started a pattern that has continued to this day. Yeah, that's why I don't mess with women. I got effed up. But I'm trying, everybody, to deal with it. I'm on the nasal spray, Flonase, my allergies, I'm on that. Now, one of the side effects of Flonase nasal spray is it lowers your sex drive. Yeah. I didn't know about it. My wife found out about it before I did. The way I found out, I was sleeping one night. I woke up and caught her spraying it into my nostrils while I was sleeping. Lowers my sex drive and stops me from snoring, as my wife calls it, miracle mist. Flonase, more like no-lays. But you know what? It's probably good. It's probably better that way. Don't have to worry about the kids walking in on us. Yeah, because that's a fear. Anybody's got kids, you got to worry about your kids. Anyone here ever walk in on their mom and dad when you're going? So over here, yeah, you remember it, right? Don't be like, I'm not sure. No, you'd be sure. Certain memories stick with you for life. Falling out of moving vehicles and walking in on mom and dad. Well, as traumatic as you think it would be, walking in on your dad and your mom. Imagine me walking in on my dad and my aunt. My aunt looked right at me. I'm staring. I was like a deer in headlights. I just froze. I could not move. I just started sweating. I didn't know what to do. So I just kicked on the AC. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's getting hot in here. Hey, you guys have been fabulous. Thank you so much. Thank you. It means a lot. Oh, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Here's the